In this tutorial, we'll cover the creation and use of custom profiles. Custom profiles are an incredibly powerful feature in Resume Scan Pro. They'll allow you to very quickly sift a large talent pool for detailed and specific requirements for a particular position, role, or project that you're trying to staff. Let's get started. We'll create our first custom profile. To show you the power of Resume Scan Pro, I'll provide very little information for this first pass. In this case, I'll simply give it a 3-letter acronym for Chief Financial Officer, CFO. Let's see what Resume Scan Pro can do with just 3 letters of input data. Now, the profile generation is complete, and we can see that Resume Scan Pro has created a rich and detailed profile for our search for Chief Financial Officer. The typical skills and required levels of expertise are outlined, always with the name of the dimension, a description of the dimension, as well as specific evidence. For example, in the case of financial strategy and planning, long-term forecasting and alignment with organizational goals is correctly called out as a key prerequisite. You can see that Resume Scan Pro has turned our 3-letter acronym into a detailed dimension roster, including specific legislative rules and constraints such as GAAP and IFRS. We can now save this custom profile and use it for a later analysis pass. Let's create a second custom profile, and this time, instead of just giving it 3 letters, we'll have quite a bit more information. This is a complete job specification and description for a role called Head of Generative AI Discretionary Trading for a capital management company in Boston. This specification includes quite a bit more detail, including required skills, a bit about the corporate culture, and broadly, what spells success for somebody in this role? What kind of results would this person have to deliver? Now that we have multiple pages of input, let's see what Resume Scan Pro does with this amount of input information. The profile generation typically takes 20 to 60 seconds. So whether you have a little bit of information or a lot of information, Resume Scan Pro quickly and easily, using the power of our AI system, translates those descriptions and details into actionable dimensions I can now apply to my analysis pass. Let's save this second generated profile as well. Once we return to our Analyze Resumes page, we can now see that our generated profiles are available for the next analysis pass. Let's pick Head of Generative AI, and now repeat the analysis pass of our batch of resumes that we used in our first example, where we simply applied general data science dimensions to our candidates. In this case, we'll call this Generative AI, and then run the CSV report only. Resume Scan Pro now applies the specific dimensions that we've just generated from our job spec. It's finished, and now let's take a quick look at the results here in our CSV preview. You'll note that quite a few more dimensions are scored at 0 because the now more stringent and specific requirements were not met by several of the candidates. So those people would not be a good fit for this Head of Generative AI Discretionary Trading. We can also see that the total scores are quite a bit further apart than in our first tutorial video, where the clustering was much closer. This is a good example of how the custom profile feature allows you to more stringently and more accurately sift candidates that seem close to each other in skill and qualifications on paper, but are not in fact a good fit for a particular role. And this is how you create and use custom profiles in Resume Scan Pro.